Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Soutas Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Soutas. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial. This week, let's do the opening bell.
Yeah.
Mr. Dale Soutas. How you doing this week?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very busy. Very busy. Good time of year. A lot of news, a lot of shifts, good and bad, happening across the country. So a lot for me to pay attention to. How about
Both
you
of us.
from the client point of view? Is it more current clients wondering what's going to happen next, or are meeting with newer people? What's been happening in the office during office hours?
Mix of both, because we obviously have regular reviews with our current clients, and then we have quite a few that come in. They're hearing us on the radio or workshops at Fresno State, so they want to see how they're set up to make sure everything's good. So, yeah, they're all everything's kind of wondering which way is everything going to go, in the new year with the new administration, all that too. So,
well, I think the way it's going to go is all over the place. I think it's going to be the Wild West.
I think you're right.
Executive orders signed. Who knows? But the markets, at least so far, haven't reacted too crazy. But more importantly, is that what you need to be focusing on in your retirement years? Throughout today's hour-long program, folks, I want to let you know a few different topics. We'll talk about some of the seismic shifts that are happening, not just in the financial services industry, but to kind of estate planning, keeping money in your family. This, I think, is a kind of a theme of today's discussion. Because one thing that I love is when you bring in some of the stories of how you've helped people. And for all of our radio listeners, we want you to know out there, we protect your names, your situation. But if we can talk about some of the broad strokes of how Dale actually helps people, I think it's helpful for the rest of the listeners to be able to hear exactly what you do. So we're going to talk about a little bit in estate planning. How do we transfer that wealth to the next generation? A little bit more financial fact and fiction. We had a little bit of fun with that last week. I'd like to do some more. And if we get time, some of the important things to think about before retiring in 2025. It's a bit of a theme we're doing throughout this year. Starting off with, though, Dale, some of these shifts that we have been starting to see, it's industry-wide right now. There is a resource I do like to read. It's called Rethinking 65. And I do think we need to rethink a little bit about our retirement. But have you seen some of these numbers on how much is supposed to transfer from baby boomers to the next generation? Have you looked at that? And do you think that's actually going to be transferred, or do you think our baby boomers are going to spend it in their retirement years?
Well, a lot of people say, I want to spend the last dollar the day I die. But realistically, how do you do that, right? And so,
it's possible, maybe. I don't know.
It's possible.
If you're lucky.
And a lot of the plans I put together show people ending up with more money down the road, even if I put out their income plan to age 100, than what they started with, because if they have things properly structured and they've got money guaranteed to last their lifetime, keep up with inflation, longevity, other funds can be invested to where they're growing. But there's trillions. What is it? They estimate 72 trillion.
Yeah, 72 trillion that can be transferred. They're talking about anywhere from 85 to 90 trillion dollars in assets from the baby boomers going to the next generation. But maybe 11 or 12 of it being donated to charity. But before it even gets to the next generation,
who normally gets it first?
I think our long living spouse, right? The females outlive us by 5, 10, 15, 20 years sometimes.
Yeah.
So this money might not be going anywhere right away. It could be. This could be very neat. I think it could be very interesting. We could have one of the largest and richest female populations of wealth in the United States in history. And I'm curious to see, what they do with it, and how long it lasts for them, because rather than transferring, they're going to need it for healthcare costs, for living costs, for increases in inflation and so forth.
New
So
car.
new car, new roof, new thing, new hairdo, we're going to need it for things. So will it really be transferred?
We've been helping thousands of families through the years, especially if a loved one's like in a nursing home or needs care, knowing how to protect their estates from so-called spend down and get on programs that can help pay. And I've had quite a few little ladies who we've helped them with their husband. And, the husband had been working with whoever, managing money themselves. So I really like to coach married couples, make sure both of you understand how things are set up. And so when the husband gets, let's say, dementia, Alzheimer's in a facility, I'm taking them by the hand and I'm helping them know how to deal with different things. I had a dear little lady who, several, they call me their son. I call them mom when we talk. But things come up, and it could just be things that, because they don't have the spouse to bounce it off of. Should I downsize?
Yeah.
Should I buy this car, buy that, whatever. But they have the money, and then how do we keep it going and keep them going? It's not, difficult, but it's still, that's the first step. That's usually where the money goes first.
For your own complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Well, that's an interesting perspective right there. And just where do you get the financial advice with somebody who you can say that you trust? And, do you want to wait until your spouse passes away and then start searching around? Or do you want to establish a relationship of somebody who you both trust or you both understand what the strategy is? And then, to be there, again, a lot of the advice you give, I would say, I don't want to go by a percentage, but wouldn't you say a lot of questions that you answer for folks are just things that there's not really a cost to? There's not, something on a balance sheet. Say, before you take an hour of my time, I got to charge you for this. Sometimes you're just there to give somebody the confidence they're going to be okay.
And just recently, he was surprised. The gentleman came in and he heard our show a while back about wills and trusts. And I've had this same conversation with many over the past few years. And he came in and wanted to know, more about that. And we looked at the fact that he had a number of properties, and he understands. I think what triggered part of it was, he's got some people he's in partnership with and on property, and they were looking to sell property.
Definitely,
yeah, they were looking to sell that property, but one of them died, and that the kids are in control because mom and dad had died, and it has to go through probate before the kids can really control the property. So they can't sell the property because part of it's in probate. So he realized, okay, that could pose a problem for my family. So I coached him. I said, there's nothing financially that you need to change. Everything you're doing is fine. Your income's fine. There's no accounts I need to set up for you, move money. There's nothing I'm going to make off of you. You need to go set up your trust and get your properties in it. And, you need a complete trust with powers of attorney, healthcare directives, and all that. And I told him, it doesn't matter if you come back with questions, you're not going to get a bill. And his eyes lit up like, well, really? And well, no, that's not how we make money. And you just need proper coaching. You need the right wording in your documents so that things happen. Then he says, well, what if I title property in one of my kids' names? I said, well, the kid has a legal or financial problem whose property is lost. Oh, yeah. And then, the beauty of current tax laws, your properties go in a trust and they pass on to the kids, even though you bought them for a little bit and they're worth a whole lot more now when they inherit it. Under current tax laws, they get a stepped up basis. So if they don't want to live in those properties, they don't want to rent them out, and they sell them, that money comes tax free. There's no capital gains tax on the gains.
So I want to be clear on that, because this is not the first time in my career that I've heard about this. So a very interesting situation. Definitely not unique though. So he owned properties with other partners. That person entity passed away. The property can't pass over or be sold because it has to go through probate for their kids, for the other person's kids who had passed away. So then he called and asked you, hey, to avoid that, should I put my kids on the property name? And you're like, whoa, whoa.
No.
Big mistake there, but putting it into trust. So is this one of those reasons why having a trust can be helpful for someone if you have properties that are either part of a business structure or with other partners, to make sure that things pass easily and quickly to the next generation?
Well, yeah, because even you set up a trust, various properties, you might have partnerships with various different people. So your portion of that property you own with partners can be in your trust. And the problem with that one example is that the person who owned that piece of property with him, there was a few of them apparently, did not have a trust. And the value of that one little piece of property would not have triggered probate, but apparently their other properties weren't properly structured in a trust, which trigger probate, which drags that property into probate as well.
Yeah. And then sounding from it, not even sure if they had their business entities set up correctly. Was it an LLC? Was it a partnership? Was it a C Corp?
It was just partners. Probably handshake.
Yeah,
but,
probably handshake. Let's pool our money, but we're speculating here. But yeah, hey, and this is one of the reasons why. So the generational wealth building, you might have properties, you might have investments, you might have your home, but how exactly do you want these assets to pass to your heirs without problem after you're no longer with us? It's worth having the conversation. You can do that with Dale. And as he just said, the gentleman who came in, there's no charge, there's no cost. We just want to see how we can help you and if there's anything that we can do. Give us a call. Let us help you with your estate planning needs. Some of the largest generational wealth being passed in the next 30 years. Do you want to make sure your assets stay with your family? Call us right now. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. Folks are standing by to schedule your appointment with Dale and his team of Soutas Financial. We'll be right back after this.
Do you know how you'll generate income from your investments along with your Social Security in retirement? In our opinion, it's never too early to start the income planning process for your future. An income plan can help you work towards creating a steady stream of income to support you throughout your retirement years. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Take control today and start income planning for your retirement. Call the team at Soutas Financial so we can help you design a complimentary written income plan to help you live the retirement you've always wanted. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Will I run out of money in retirement? That's a hard question to answer if you've never been retired. How do you grow your investments without taking too much risk, but also considering what you'll pay in taxes? Should you convert your tax-deferred accounts into Roth accounts for tax-free growth later? Don't forget about inflation. Instead of questions about your retirement, turn to answers and solutions from Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial. Call and ask for your own complimentary retirement solution review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382 for your complimentary retirement solution review.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial, your financial advisor right here in California. How do we make sure that we pass the wealth that we've created, saved for ourselves, and preserve possibly to the next generation or over to our spouse properly first? There's a lot of different ways. I'm very excited to see what the female generation, this could be one of the largest, most populated female generations and the wealthiest generation ever of women from 70, 75 and beyond who inherit wealth or who are the main decision makers. I mean, they're kind of thinking that 79% of the financial decisions in the next 20 years for those over the age of 70 are going to be coming from women. And so I'm curious to see, is there a shift? Is there a shift in buying? Is there a shift on priorities? Is there a shift on investing and how it changes things? But staying in this vein, when we have all of this, what about the tax situations of the generational wealth? We want to make sure, that we pass things along efficiently. Are there things we can do to either pay taxes in advance or to shield Uncle Sam from our holdings? How do we pass things along properly?
Right. Yeah, it's, with trillions, I mean, what did we say? 80, 90 trillion potentially going on. And, some of those families have a lot of assets. I mean, recently had a couple come in and they were coming in on a different question, which ultimately was to benefit their children. But as I got their whole picture in front of me, I said, well, wait a minute. What about this problem? You've got, holdings, real estate and other investments that exceed the federal estate exemption limit right now today, which you're talking 8 figures, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
So we're talking
18.
several millions, not just 8 or 9 million.
Millions.
We're talking tens of millions. Well, that's definitely going to be over the threshold.
Yeah, because what the limit now, a married couple can pass on to their children.
It's like 13.9, I think.
Yeah,
somewhere
so
around
about almost 28 million in assets.
Because you can add it up
with no estate. Yeah, with no estate or death tax. Okay. So for most of us, it's a moot point, right? Or a moot point, whatever you call it. I always said mute until my
that would be incorrect. That will come with our financial fact or fiction later. Is it moot or mute? It is moot.
Well, but it's also mute because it can't talk. All right, boy. Whatever. You meant what I knew.
With the dad jokes
So
today.
anyway, the point being, so if you have assets exceeding that estate exemption limit, then whatever assets above that are taxed at currently 40%. Okay.
Oh.
So if you're 10 million over the limit, 4 million of it goes to Uncle Sam, not the kids. So I saw that problem right away. And so I said, well, let's put the other question aside for a minute, because you need a system to protect, the estate taxes for your children more so than doing this other thing. So, and there's a easy solution to provide some additional tax-free income to the kids via a certain type of life insurance, structured properly, so it doesn't add to their estate, but it stays out of their estate, but it still passes to the kids tax-free to pay the taxes. So there's some systems of doing that. And so I outlined that, and we're doing our homework on that. But the point being is, what if, you're not worried, hey, I don't have 28 million as a married couple or 14 million as an individual. Okay, no big deal. But, think in terms of taxes. Why do they likely have to increase? The national debt isn't 6 trillion. It's more like 126 trillion when you look at the official real national debt. But to lower that, to slow down the debt, they're going to have to raise revenue. One of the ways could be by lowering that estate exemption from 13, 14 million per person back down to 5 or 3.5 or whatever.
And right now it is set to sunset at the end of the year. So now that's if there are no changes. But when the Tax Cuts and Job Act was enacted in 2017, it lowered, I think it was 5 out of the 7 tax brackets by either 2 to 4 percentage points. It also increased the largest standardized deduction in U.S. history. So this year's will be $15,000. I think it's like $14,200 or something like that for your reporting year if you haven't done your taxes yet. And then the other thing is that the estate tax was bumped up. It was nearly doubled. I think it's close to 2/3 higher now. But all of that is set to sunset at the end of this year if Washington, D.C. does nothing. Now, that's what we don't know. Will they increase, lower taxes, or keep them?
But to get a handle on the national debt, they're going to have to raise revenue, be practical, be realistic. So how are they going to do that? They could raise income tax, but that's not exciting for people. They know that. So do some other things, lower the estate exemption limit on estate tax limit. So, I mean, if you've got 30, 40, million in assets passing on, hopefully to your kids, and they lower that now to 5 million per, you've got only 10 million exempt from that 40% tax, and a whole lot more that's going to be hit with tax. So how do we how do we properly structure things to minimize the tax for the kids, if that's a priority to you or not?
To get your complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
And what's funny is when you say the kids, I don't mean to interrupt you, is that these kids that you're talking about, these are probably adults. They're kids in their 50s and 60s, and they could be in their high earnings years or having salaries. So it's important to be tax efficient. And if we're talking 40% in taxes or whatever it might be, any lump sum might be something that can help them with their next generations. I mean, that's how we build that spillover wealth. And just having a conversation, Dale.
Well, it might be that they prefer it to go to the grandkids too, but and it is fun because I asked ones regularly, so do you have kids? Well, no, they're grown up. Well, I know, but I mean, they're still your children.
Did you have children at some point?
Yeah. Do you have any beneficiaries? I mean, it just proper planning. It's looking at the whole picture instead of looking at one item. I don't like it when people are just focused on, hey, how do I make money? Okay, well, that's not hard to do. How do I keep my money safe, or how do I keep it growing? Okay, but more than that has to be looked at. Are you looking at the taxes? Are you looking at, if you don't spend it all, how to make sure it passes on without probate, which could in California take over 2 years and, a lot of attorney and court fees. So, how do you structure the whole enchilada, so to speak, to properly move on to your spouse or to the kids? Sometimes I run into ones that the husband owns everything, the wife, her name's not on anything, and what problems can that create down the road? There's a lot that we would like to help people with.
And it might feel overwhelming for folks. We want to let you know that Dale is a resource. One of the biggest things today is a lack of financial education or understanding. If you feel like that, you're not alone. There was a new survey done that 79% of respondents said they received financial advice from social media. 35% from getting financial information from family members, 33% from other internet resources, and our financial literacy levels are falling. We're not getting information from the right places, or we're not getting information that applies to us. It's very difficult. One of the reasons why you do live events, right, Dale?
Yeah, and those are free to come to. Even coming in the office, getting your specific questions answered. Sorry, you're not going to get a bill. That's not how we operate. When you tear up because there's no bill, I've got a box of Kleenex on my desk. I'll hand you one. One Kleenex, that is. But anyway, a simple thing that people still are hearing and doing, which isn't usually for their best interests and our children's and grandchildren's best interests, is, throw as much of your income into your 401k, your retirement accounts and such, pay less taxes today. And when you retire and you're making less income, you take it out and pay less taxes. That doesn't happen in reality for most people. It's rare that I see people who would take money out of their 401ks and IRAs and pay less taxes, because by then they have other income. They have Social Security, maybe a pension, maybe rental income, whatever, interest, dividend incomes. Maybe they have a lot of, money invested. Every penny you take out of your tax deferred accounts, like an IRA 401k, is put on top of your other income and can push you into higher tax brackets, more of your Social Security being taxed, and so on and so on. So how do you structure things better? Use tax-free strategies. Teach our kids, teach our grandkids how to do that, why they need to do it, and how. And if you need that resource, we have a movie, The Power of Zero. Just call us, reach out to us for free. You'll get that movie. It's a valuable resource for helping our children, grandchildren, even ourselves, to save and keep Uncle Sam out of our retirement as best we can.
New study says 79% of respondents are getting their financial advice from social media. talk with a financial professional. There's no cost to sit down with Dale. There's no cost to come into the office. There's no cost for Dale to help you, give you some advice, some pointers. In fact, there's no cost just to get that information. We'll talk to you about what it looks like to put together an income plan. We'll talk about your risk you're taking. We'll talk about diversification, estate planning, taxes, whatever's on your mind. You just have to reach out to us. 833-856-1382. Call that phone number. Call it right now. People are standing by to schedule that appointment for you. More with Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way right after this.
Are you worried that you waited too late to start your retirement planning? That you waited too late to start saving? At Soutas Financial, we believe it's never too late to start planning for your future. We can help you develop a personalized retirement plan that is tailored to your current needs and goals. The team at Soutas Financial will sit down with you and provide an evaluation of your current path, including your investment strategy, tax planning, and risk management approach. We'll help you identify potential areas for improvement and work with you to create a retirement plan that is designed to help you work towards having financial security and peace of mind in retirement. It's not too late for you to get started with Soutas Financial. Call us today to schedule your complimentary retirement planning session. We believe we can help you get on the path to financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial to get started on your own complimentary written financial plan. Call 833-856-1382.
Is having $1 million enough to retire? For years, many have considered this to be the goal amount to have for retirement savings, $1 million. But that's the $1 million question. Is that enough for today's modern retiree? Are you sure you've saved enough for a 25 or 30-year retirement? Are you concerned about covering large expenses, including taxes and long-term care? If so, you're not alone. But there is a solution. With a comprehensive financial plan, you can take control of your finances to help you achieve your long-term goals. With Soutas Financial, let us help you work towards peace of mind by implementing a complete retirement strategy. Call Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial Planning right away to receive your complimentary written financial plan. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or you can write Dale at dale@soutas.com. That's SOUTAS.com.
This is Retire Your Way with financial advisor Dale Soutas of Soutas Financial right here in California. You can get your own retirement income plan done very simply by calling the phone number right now, scheduling your appointment. 833-856-1382. If you want to learn more about Dale and his team, you can go to Soutas.com, SOUTAS.com, or you can write Dale. See, I kind of mixed up in my mind because I was thinking about this. You can write him an email as well. Ask him any question you want to, about your retirement planning. Dale at Soutas.com. That's Dale, the @ symbol, SOUTAS.com.
Yeah. You know, I did have somebody reach out just recently on an email, asked a question about could we possibly talk to him about Roth conversions, and I well, yeah, we can. Of course. Just give us a call, come in, let's see the whole picture.
Did they give you an amount or anything like that? Or
no. Okay. I just, the point is, until I see the whole picture, I'm not going to say do it this way or do it that way. Yeah. And we might need to coordinate with their CPA and or my CPA just to make sure we crunch all the numbers so they understand, if you convert some of your IRA 401k to Roth, what's the tax hit? We, pay the tax today while taxes are low and we know what they are, instead of delaying it down the road when chances are they'll be higher. But, we look at that picture too. So it's nice when you're more than welcome to reach out questions. If I can handle it, the question over an email, I might ask you additional questions to get details and, but typically it's nice to set a time where I can really get the whole picture first, and it doesn't cost anything to do that, obviously.
All right. You can write Dale directly, Dale at Soutas.com. That's Dale and the @ symbol, SOUTAS.com. Write him your financial question. Dale, I always like to do more case study. We've already been talking about some folks. Interesting. He said you had somebody in their 60s come in recently, but their main concern wasn't their portfolio. What was on their mind?
Well, actually, no. It's kind of reverse of that. I get ones regularly that coming in, they're 60, 70, whatever. We're looking at their situation, and they happen to mention, well, I'm also taking care of a parent or parents,
Yeah.
or the parents are at a point where they need help. And so I usually put their stuff aside. So, okay, tell me about your parents. What's going on? What do they need help with? Sometimes they've got some dementia, Alzheimer's, and they can't be left alone. Or sometimes, they're at an age. I mean, I've had ones, where their parents are in their 90s or even 100 and needing help. So, well, tell me more about what kind of help do they need? Help getting up and down? Yeah. They help, bathing, dressing, whatever. So there are programs that we can help them activate typically. So we have to get more info on their parents that can give them some income so that the family members can get paid to take care of them, or they can bring in other trusted ones and not wear out themselves. I mean, especially if you have your parents living with you and you're taking care of them, how can you get some extra money to get a break even, bring other people in to take care of them?
How do you do that?
Stuff like that. We can help. I mean, there are programs that are available to activate sometimes through what we call the long-term care Medi-Cal, which is different than welfare Medi-Cal. Sometimes it's through the VA. There's some, money that way. It all depends on the whole situation. And in California now, they don't even look at assets anymore. So it doesn't matter how much your parents own property-wise, account-wise, money-wise. They only look at their income. And so, and even if you've asked for this benefit through Medi-Cal and they said, no, you don't qualify, double check with us because you might not know how to structure things so they do qualify, or they may have given Medi-Cal the wrong info, and Medi-Cal is responding based on wrong information. So, and you got to put the right info in too.
Definitely.
So some things don't count as income, and you might tell them, well, they got this, and some of that income might not count. So again, just know that you have help if you're taking care of a loved one or you're concerned about that for down the road.
Call Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way and Soutas Financial for your complimentary Retire Your Way review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Yeah. And, again, we're talking about these kids. I'm using funny air quotes, but the kids were taking care of their parents, 50s, 60s themselves. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of resources. It's, of course, a lot of care. It's one of the greatest gifts to do, to be able to take care of our parents as they age. But, maybe you're continuing your working years as well. Maybe it's a lot harder for you to travel. And what Dale is talking about is there are possibly state programs that might be able to help you, or at least with some visitation help. And if you've applied or if you don't know, it is okay to reach out. Dale and his team have been doing this for a long time. Dale knows exactly where to dig and find out. And just like any kind of form of application, knowing how to fill it out properly, you might be able to actually find out a little bit of information.
That can help.
Yeah. And you don't mind doing that, Dale? Again, no cost?
No, we walk people through, depending on what they need on that side. There may be a small cost just to have us represent them and deal with the government agencies for them. But the key is, what about a lot of women? Unfortunately, women will stop working to take care of parents. And now how does that affect their retirement? Or it may be that the parents, they've got some assets and stuff. So we don't need to lean on a government program, but we need to structure some things so they can get the additional income needed to keep them, again, out of a nursing home, keep them in a home setting, maybe with family or some kind of assisted living cruise ship on land, as we call them, because some of those places are really nice. But sometimes people think they can't afford it when they truly can. But the state of
California is quite unique, and I mean unique in a good way as far as that. And the things that you've talked about, the programs that the state of California put together, really robust for people, really leading from what should be taken, for example, across the country. And I really appreciate you knowing about these strategies. Folks, if you're taking care of aging parents, if you're wondering if there might be help out there for you, go ahead and give us a call. We are not part of the government or Social Security Administration or IRS, but Dale has worked throughout these helping care communities and through all of this kind of registration you have to do several times, dozens of times, probably hundreds and hundreds of times. So you can give us a call. Thousands, if not. Yeah, exactly. Give us a call. Let us help you take care of your aging parents. It's part of the, I want to say, growing phenomenon happening across the country. More baby boomers turning 65 every day. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. You can give us a call. How about a little bit of financial fact or fiction before we wrap up today's show? How about this? Once you retire, fact or fiction, Dale, once you retire, you can keep the same portfolio as during your working years. You know, that portfolio got you to retirement. It's probably grown. Do you keep the same thing?
Good question. Recently I had a little lady come in and she's retired and she doesn't have a gigantic nest egg, and she knows she doesn't want to gamble on the market anymore, but she's not making anything the way she has it set up. So her money's actually going backwards when you compare to inflation. So it could be that situation where, no, there's some ways to have that chunk of some of your money safe, protected, and growing better than 1%. But then the people who have the larger estates and they've got all this money invested on the stock market or whatever, is that really the best way for you to have reliable income ongoing? Again, that sequence of returns, what does that mean? You have $1 million on the stock market and you're going to take 4% off of it every year to, $40,000 to fill in what Social Security and other, so you have enough income, an extra $40,000 a year income. But when the stock market's up, no big deal. But when the stock market drops, think about it, and you want that same $40,000 out, you're selling more of your stock, more of your principal to get the income. And so that sequence of returns, the ups and downs, doesn't pan out more than 50% of the time. In other words, fails more than 50% of the time. So if you do need additional income, chances are you don't want as much risk and you need tools to provide additional guaranteed income is really what I like to show people. But usually people want to lower their risk once they stop working. When you're working, the retirement red zone, let's be realistic. The 5 years before you retire and the 5 years after you retire are the critical times not to be taking a lot of extra risk, because I've seen it many times. People, hey, I'm going to retire in a couple of years, or I'm retired, but my wife's going to retire in a couple of years. And then because they kept their money on the market and the market crashed, the wife continued working another 6-8 years, instead of retiring right away. No fun to do that if you have plans to have, do other things. So the whole, how to keep your money, have the income you need throughout retirement. That's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're trying to figure out what kind of portfolio you need from your working years to your retirement years, if you're in that retirement red zone, a few years beforehand, a year, 6 months before your retirement, maybe you're in the first few years of retirement. Do you know exactly how much risk you're taking in your portfolio? If you don't, give us a call. We'll do the portfolio review, the risk review, and your income plan for you at no cost. 833-856-1382. Dial that phone number. Folks are standing by right now. They'll schedule an appointment. More with Dale Soutas right after this.
Will you outlive your money? It's a scary thought, but it's a real concern for many people. In our opinion, that's why it's crucial to have a solid retirement plan in place. We believe that with proper planning, you can work towards making your money last as long as you do. Don't wait until it's too late to start thinking about your financial future. Call Dale Soutas and the team at Soutas Financial today to learn how we can help you create a retirement plan that can potentially help you obtain peace of mind and security for years to come. Don't let the fear of running out of money in retirement keep you up at night. Take control of your financial future today. Start your Retire Your Way review and financial plan by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
For those approaching and in retirement, the perfect economic storm has arrived. the highest inflation in over 4 decades, the end to the 13-year bull run of the stock market, looming increases in tax rates, and rising interest rates all spell trouble for your retirement savings. At Soutas Financial and Insurance Services, our mission is to provide you a clear income path that lasts all the way through your retirement years, no matter what storms are ahead. Call Dale Soutas and Soutas Financial right now for your own complimentary retirement storm strategy. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Soutas, Soutas Financial. You can go right to the website, find out more about the team, live events. You want to see Dale in person? Ask him your questions. Go to Soutas.com, Soutas.com. We've got our live events listed right there. Do them right here in California. A little bit more financial fact or fiction, if you don't mind, Dale. Mind having a little bit of fun? Nope. All right. Yep. Okay. Well, you know what? We were just talking about the portfolio. And once you retire, can you keep the same portfolios during your working years? I think we kind of said that's a bit of a fiction, depending on the risk, depending on what you're trying to do. How about the opposite side? How about this? Financial fact or fiction. Holding savings in cash in retirement protects your wealth. Fact or fiction, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, yeah, you put it in the bank, you put in CDs and all these things that are, safe. Yeah, your money's safe. So that side of it could be a fact. But how about the little lady recently? She had, her retirement account. She didn't want it, on the market. She didn't have a gigantic amount. So it's, mostly like treasury bills, things that are more cash related. It's safe. But it's only making like 1%. And, to have the income she needs throughout retirement, her Social Security and little pension wouldn't be enough. So by having that put to work a little harder without any risk, helped her to know that her money's going to last, keep up with inflation and all that good stuff. So I've had others who, they retired, they moved everything they had to the bank, all their 401ks and stuff were converted to IRAs. So you didn't pay tax on it, but it was all in, bank savings and CDs and stuff like that. And think about it, even at the rates most bank accounts offer now, they're barely keeping up with inflation. So they retired and they retired their money, right? So their money's, not working as good, not as hard for them. So no, it's a myth because if you keep it more in cash, you need cash, don't take me wrong. And
but you need more like for like emergencies and for like immediate expenses, like 5-6 months worth of expenses, right? So there is a positive in having that account, but not all of it.
No, in fact, reality is I tell people, I don't want you living what we call a just in case retirement. So like this, I've seen this many times. People tell me I want to travel and I want to buy a boat or I want to spoil the grandkids more, join the country club. I have these hobbies and interests. So when I retire, I want to do more of that. And then they retire and they don't do any of them. And their money is safe and and they don't do all what they want to do. Or maybe they do invest and the money grows. But when they die, the money goes to kids. And what do the kids do? They travel, they buy the boat, they join the country club, they do all their hobbies and so that's living a just in case retirement that the families I work with, I tell them, no, I want you to be able to do all the fun things you want to do. There still will be leftovers to the kids, sometimes even more than you have starting out with your plan. So if you have things planned out properly, you can maintain a good lifestyle because you have the income and you'll still have money that can pass on to the kids if that's a priority or whoever you want beneficiary wise.
All right. So holding savings in cash in retirement protects your wealth. We would probably prefer not all of your nest egg. No. We want a certain amount there for emergencies. That's exactly what it is for. So you don't have to take money out of a market to have it taxed. When there is an emergency, of course, your monthly bills. Does that mean though that we balance what kind of risk you're taking? Absolutely. That goes to the question even before. So what is your portfolio? It's assigning different jobs to the money. As Dale was saying, you're retired, but your money needs to keep working for you.
Exactly.
You can't let all of
Don't
your money
retire
as
Yeah.
well. Don't retire your money. Folks, if you don't know exactly where you should be placing your money in retirement to preserve it, to protect it, but to have enough growth to beat inflation over time, give us a call. 833-856-1382. We'll do your entire portfolio and income review and that income plan for you, no cost. 833-856-1382. How about another financial fact or fiction here? How about this one? Financial fact or fiction. You should delay Social Security until the age of 70 for maximum benefits. Fact or fiction? What do you think?
It all depends. You make me think.
Well, I mean, I
So,
know that's first of all, that's the maximum age it grows to. You can, that's the
Yeah,
number
grows.
amount for maximization. But there's also tax strategies that help you maximize. But should
Well,
you
yeah,
delay
let me
for
give
the
a-
maximum? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get a variety of people, and I have a different answer based on their picture. So I had one gentleman, I helped him. We've got some things set up so that when he's fully retired, he'll have some additional income that for he and his wife that they can't outlive, and it'll keep up with inflation or possibly even beat inflation the way it's structured. But the question is, he's getting closer to retirement. And let's say this person's 68, going to be 69 this year, and so he realizes too, if he retires now, he's not contributing into Social Security for the next year or two, so he might not get the exact maximum that they're projecting, but he will get higher amount. So how do we put that? So he's close to now. A lot of times I will show people, yes, delay it to 70. So while, you're delayed and you're not working, we take out more from your 401k IRAs and either use that for income and on top of that, convert some of that to Roth while you don't have the extra Social Security income. So you're not pushing, so you have more room to convert more of your tax deferred money to Roth, because you don't have that extra Social Security income that's going to limit how much you could put over to the Roth. So if we can, I'm always looking for ways to help people get Uncle Sam out of their retirement as best we can, minimize, even eliminate unnecessary taxes. So there's a lot of different things we look at. So delaying to 70 isn't always,
it's not for everyone. Right?
It's not for everybody, but for a lot of people, yes, it's really smart, especially if you're married. Think about it. If the husband was the bigger, wage earner, no, that doesn't make sense.
Wage earner.
But anyway, wage earner, and his Social Security is bigger than his wife's. So the beauty of delaying is so down the road when she knocks him up. I mean, if something happens to him, did I say it right this time?
Yeah. You're watching too much Dateline.
Yeah. She'll get the bigger of the two Social Securities. She'll get his Social Security and lose hers. So it can help for the long haul to really help, your spouse.
Get your comprehensive, complimentary Retire Your Way review by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Yeah, just at least having the conversation. And how about, and I always like to caution on the flip side as well. There might be a lot of people saying, well, I'm not waiting until 70. I'm taking at least a full retirement age or even earlier, because we are hearing all of the reports about it not being there or taking a reduction. Any change in the climate in that conversation, in your opinion? Do you anything being talked about in the new, old, renewed administration about fixing Social Security yet? Is anybody bringing it up?
Well, even what's interesting is the movie we recommend people watching, and you can get a free copy from us. Reach out to us. It's called The Baby Boomer Dilemma, and it really goes into depth on a section of it on how they were working with Washington, let's say, to fix the Social Security problem. The point being, there are ways to fix it. The ones who are thinking, nah, I'm going to take it as soon as I can because it's probably not going to be there for me down the road. But be realistic. If the government cut Social Security by a 1/3, like it's, they might have to if they don't do anything, who's going to go crazy across the country? Everybody who's not only got Social Security, but who is expecting to get it. So the craziness of, the riots, whatever, like France. Probably worse than France when they raised
There's like 2 or 3 years ago, folks, if you don't know about this, the France raised the full retirement age from 62 to 64, and there was rioting in the streets. People were very upset about that.
So what would they do here? What would all the people on Social Security and or expecting to get it if they cut it or cut it back? So the politicians would lose their jobs. So they're going to do something. Like I tell people, an easy fix is instead of having people who make 100, more than 170,000 roughly, not pay into Social Security anymore, raise that to 500 or 1 million, or just eliminate the cap so everybody contributes into it. That would solve the Social Security, problem right away. But we'll see what happens. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm not worried about it. I would still plan how to maximize it. Mm-hmm. Don't plan how to minimize it by taking it too soon.
Perfectly said. Folks, you're listening to Dale Soutas, financial advisor. If you want to sit down with Dale and talk about Social Security, how do we optimize your portfolio? Are you taking too much risk? How do you create income that you can't outlive? How do we take care of not only ourselves and our spouse in retirement as far as healthcare? Maybe you're already taking care of your aging parents. Do you know all of the different state rules of where you might be able to get help? Folks, don't be overwhelmed. All you have to do is one thing right now. Pick up your phone, call the phone number, set up your appointment. You can have a conversation about whatever financially is on your mind for retirement. 833-856-1382 is that phone number. We're wrapping up right now. We'll still have operators standing by to schedule that appointment for a while, but call that phone number, or you can go to Soutas.com and learn more about the team, Soutas.com. For Dale Soutas, I'm Spike Spangle. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session. 833-856-1382 is the number for you to call. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Soutas with Soutas Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and are not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Comments regarding a particular client's experience may or may not be the same as another client's experience, and is not an indication that any client or prospective client will experience the same or a higher level of future success or performance. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio of securities, or investment strategy is suitable for any specific person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement, tax, and legacy planning strategies with a legal or tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategy discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, nor any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan in your area, and contacting us at the phone numbers provided herein will direct you you to a licensed insurance agent. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-Medicare to get information on all of your options. All rights reserved.